Today I'm be sharing with you my endgame Exalted Hinterclaw build. Now you don't necessarily need to be Exalted to do this build, but being Exalted will give you a little bit more power, 30% more critical damage during Rampage, and I got something that stacks with that for you in this build. But as you can see right here, I'm already putting out 240 critical damage, and that's times 171.8% for 412 critical damage with a power of 190 and a duration of 142. So as we use our shield, the ticks that we do are hitting hard. When we do use our weapon techniques, they are hitting hard. Don't look at the weapon techniques. Well, you can look at it, but I got something for you that's going to give you more power than putting on the primal 140-ish on the high roll augment, which I know a lot of people have suggested running, but I'm going to show you how I set this up. You'll get the same amount of damage boost on your weapon techniques during Rampage, which you're always in Rampage after you get going. After you kill like the first 3 dudes and you get a good shield blast, you're in Rampage. So you'll get the same amount. Actually, if you're Exalted, you'll get more damage for having a good roll on the 4 bounding reach, or however you pronounce this, than you will if you have the highest roll 140. It caps at 143, but I did a roll with 140 and having the double weapon technique and the weapon technique on the mastery, and that came out to like 200% extra weapon technique damage, and I still did more damage during Rampage from having this augment in place of it. Now, in order to get this up to 103, you are going to have to run the might over here. But there's another reason we're running the might over there, and why we're putting this in the center. I heard somebody else, my friend Gunn, he said he copied this build that had him put this in the middle. Sorry, that's just crazy. You don't need that much overhealth gain per hit. You're unnecessarily getting extra overhealth gain and sacrificing power. That's not what you want to do with the Hinterclaw. Now, what you want to do is you want these 2 shield augments, because there's not too many other good blues that you can put. Now, if you're running an earth for your weapon, or you're running a water for your weapon, you could run the extra poison or the extra chill cursed augment. That is definitely an option. You still want to run might for the mastery, because these are only 200 and these are just primals. These are very easy to re-roll. I didn't get a chance really to re-roll this one up into the 90 to 100. It's at 88. It's at the mid-high level, but these are very easy to re-roll into at least 85 plus. Should not take you more than 3 re-rolls to get it to that level with a decent first secondary. We are going to be running the bonus critical hit damage as well during Rampage. Very easy to get into Rampage. As you can see right here, this puts this number at 130. If we re-roll these, or this one, to the higher number, and you sacrificed a little bit on resistance, you could put this up to about 150. Now, the reason I'm not doing that is ideally I think your resistances should all be about 40. And if we took this off, we would be dropping down to like 35, 36, depending on how many 5s and 6s you get on your vitality. There's not many vitality pieces to this build. And for that reason, I'm keeping the resistances on all the vitality pieces. We already have enough critical hit damage, especially after we enter Rampage. We're looking at 500 plus critical damage without even using the orbs. So the weapon that we want to use is the Dragon Coil. Now, it would be nice if I got the 20 version. This can go as high as the 20. More importantly, you want 15 plus with 18 or 17 critical hit chance. You want it as close to 100% critical chance as possible. Ideally, you should be looking at about 70 before using your banner. That way, you're proccing the most amount of critical hits, because when you do proc those critical hits, you're dealing massive damage. You're going to get your shield back regardless. At 17% shield charge, if you throw this into a crowd of 3, you proc the explosion, you got your shield back. So 17 to 20 is not really a big deal. Obviously, 20 is the god roll. You're looking for critical hit chance, then critical hit damage, then rampage bonus damage, or timing attack damage. Those are your main perks you want. For your second weapon, ideally, because you're never going off this because it's really a shield throw build, I would recommend the Spear of Fate. This way, when you get into the harder battles, you can quickly go into a polarity and use the 2 abilities. Using the ability, actually just using the polarity attack, will give you the greater blessing of endurance. If you can get a roll that says extra damage while you're at full health, then you can hit very hard on 2 quick ability uses. Applying stasis whenever you hit a weak point is okay. If you get the roll, I have another one on fire that has the roll that exposes the weak points on ailment hits and then blinds enemies when you hit the weak point, but that one didn't have critical hit chance, so I went with this one. But that's another really good roll if you can get all 3 of those to align. Now, this banner recharge can go as high as 4%. You can also get 3% on the dual legacy. So if you get really lucky and you get the one that lets you survive a hit for 5 seconds, a death blow, and you get the banner recharge, or you get the health recharge on critical hit and you get the banner recharge and you get it on a vitality, or even if you get it on anything and you get the critical hit chance, that would be the best way to do it. Ideally, you would want the vitality so you can even add more resistances, but that roll right there is probably like nearly 1 in 1,000, and it's already hard to get those amulets, so most people aren't going to get that. So I'm going to be showing you what most of you can use, and that is the banner charge on defeating an enemy. Very easy to re-roll within a day to 4. I just didn't re-roll mine. It already had 20 shield damage, critical hit damage. I just left it alone. I figure eventually I'll just get the one with 4. Now for the Metra Star, this is another semi-hard roll to get. You want the Mark of Weakness, and you want, when you perform critical hits, gain weapon technique charge. Ideally, obviously, you want it with critical hit chance and critical hit damage would be the God roll. Now, if you have to pick between one of the 2, I would probably take the Primal Lion augment and sacrifice the ability to do ailments on the shield throw and apply the Mark of Weakness, just so you have something that regens your ability just in case you get knocked back. And also so you can use your Southern and Northern to do more damage on bosses. If you're just throwing the shield, then you could also do the one that just applies the weakness, so your shields inflict ailments. But like I said, if you're playing a more diverse game and you don't get this roll, probably recommend going with the Primal Lion Talisman for a little bit more weapon tech regen. Now over here, we're going to take this just so our weapon techniques inflict ailments. Also, because it gives us overhealth when we defeat an enemy and overhealth retention, it helps us keep that up. It is a nice, 2 nice bonuses. We're going to get basically all our overhealth back just from throwing the shield, provided we have the Mark of Weakness. But you also can get overhealth gain on this, and it is a vitality piece. We don't have many vitality pieces. That's another reason I'm taking this. For the 5% to all resistances, 3 of the best resistances you can get for this build would be physical, void, and fire. Those would definitely be the best resistances to get. I got physical. It's a pretty decent roll with 49% overhealth gain, so I went with that for the build. Now we're going to be taking even more overhealth gain. Another reason, don't need to go crazy with the on hit. As you can see, this build's putting out 262 overhealth. Definitely on the higher end besides crazy overhealth builds. You do one Southern and you're at max overhealth. You're critting so much, all you gotta do is swing twice, throw your shield. So many ways to just put your overhealth from 0 to max. I ran the 3 cap to all resistances just to raise it a little. Ideally, I would not even want that in the roll. Ailment power, ailment duration, timing attack damage, rampage bonus damage would be preferred because I don't really have a lot of capped resistances. And then obviously more resistances to all resistance, or more resistance to all resistance. Anyway, moving on, we are going to be running the extra critical hit damage if we do use our stone, just making our next attacks do insane critical hit damage. We're looking for the same bonuses. Top priority, obviously, critical hit damage. Next up, I ran this banner and upgraded it before actually doing this build. If I would have done it previously, I would have doubled the critical hit damage instead of double the critical hit chance. But this is the banner you want to use. This will put you at 100% critical hit chance while you use the banner roughly, and it will give you a lot of extra critical hit damage. Same rolls in the secondary as all the other pieces. Moving on to the shards, like I said, this is a very nice build because you can actually use the Doom tag and you can swap in between the banner and the orbs. The build already has an insane amount of critical hit damage where you can easily hit for 500,000 to 750,000 on your explosions by not even putting that much critical hit damage, that many attacks, even by yourself playing solo into a boss. If you use the orbs, yes, you are going to hit for multiple millions if you stack up a boss while you have the orb bonus going. So if you are running the orb bonus, then you're going to put like 5 into Sundering Slam and you'll go with less shield damage. This is just for extra shield damage because it really is a shield throw build. This could easily be moved over into Spirit and weak points. These 4 points right here, you could take it for the 20% or you can move them to wherever you want. Besides that, we do want all the weapon technique, charge speed, damage, all the might, all the rampage. We want the ability to get polarity, but we don't really need the polarity bonuses. We want all the critical hit damage bonuses, all the arcane fury bonuses, all the critical hit chance bonuses, vitality. Definitely want the ability to throw the shield, all the banner bonuses. Spirit, you don't really need all. That's why I moved the 1 over. You could move that 1 back, and like I said, you could take those 4 and split it up however you want it. All the resistances, you don't really need the capped 5 resistance actually for this build. Easily remove that. If you do have multiple capped ones like I do for the earth and the void, physical and void, if you have some good capped resistances and you can actually benefit from getting 5 more, then you can go ahead like I did and you can add it. You're going to take all the ailments besides the last one, all the recoveries, 1 in finesse. You can move over 1 of those points to get the properly timed roll when you're knocked down if you like that ability. I know a lot of you do. Personally, I don't really die much and I go after cursed enemies. I just leave it alone. I'm never really knocked down too much where I can actually use that, so I just don't use that ability. But I'm going to take all the all stats as well, and that is all the skills. Moving on to the Ascension powers, and then I'll really quickly touch over the stat page. We don't parry with this build, so we're going to take evade window is longer. For this one, you could go either 1 of 2 ways. You ramp up Rampage so quick with your shield throws. I go with the longer expiration time. If you're struggling to get into Rampage, you could go with the faster charge speed, but I think expiration time is better. Definitely more damage. We don't need to be restoring health with our overhealth gain. More damage for our allies. Now this build, you can go with improved blessing duration. There's really no blessings in the build anyway, but when we get our greater blessing of endurance, having that last a little bit longer, because we're strategically using that blessing, I'm keeping the blessing duration on for this build. Shield charge, shield damage, it's really up to you. You're not really doing much damage with your base damage on the shield anyway, and it's not going to improve the explosion timing attack shield blast. So just in case you get knocked back while you throw your shield, I have the shield charge on. But this is really up to you. You could go either way. Makes no difference really to the build. Northern Technique applies Soul Shatter build up. You do use the Southern a lot. You never swing your light attack. More Arcane Fury damage for everybody that's activated it. If multiple people have activated it, you're in a rough battle, so that's what I usually use. Banner charge speed. You don't really need the banner over health. At this point in the game, this is an end-game build. Do not need more overhealth on the banner. Should be shooting you right up to max overhealth. Definitely be taking more weapon technique damage, unless you don't have a good roll on your weapon technique regen, in which case take the weapon technique charge speed. For your mark durations, you can go with mark duration or improve your marks. It's really your call. Pretty much since you're spamming your shield into groups anyway and only prioritizing 1 or 2 targets real quickly, mark duration might not be bad, especially if you're in multiplayer. Allies deal more damage in the banner and gain the greater chance to blessing of endurance or power. Personally, I would take endurance with this build only because it's a little light on resistance, but you could easily go for power as well. Polarity attack charge speed, because we don't need the bonus damage. And this last one actually gives us 10% to resistances. It doesn't work how it says, so definitely take the one on the right. Lastly, just going really quickly over the stat page again. You don't need crazy resistances, but you do want them at least about 40 overall in all the stats. Overhealth gain, at least 175 plus. Ideally, 200 plus the way you play this build would be really good. In case you get knocked back, and you're always throwing your shield, so you basically just stay at max overhealth and spam the shield and occasionally go in for weapon techniques. Ailment power, 150 to 225, 250. Duration, 100 plus. Weapon technique damage should be somewhere 100 plus, just to have some damage in there. And that's about it for the build. As you can see, the Rampage bonus damage right there is 141%. And with taking all the ones in the skill tree, you actually do hit fairly hard while you're in Rampage, especially while you land those critical hits. It might be a few hours before I get the HD version of the gameplay for this build up, but I'll do an Exalted run in a few minutes and show you just how powerful the build can be. And that is my Hinterclaw endgame Exalted build. I hope that helps.